Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you've had a good day, had a good weekend. We're back with another episode of Ashes of What Remains, a two-player campaign where ChatGPT 5.2 is the DM, and yeah, music today is again Everroom for ambient music, and I've got the previously on ready to go. So if we're ready, please don't forget to like this video, leave a comment if you'd like to, or subscribe so you'll know when we're playing again. And with that, here we go.
Here's a previously on that cleanly recaps episode 2 and sets the tone for episode 3, What Walks With You. Meant for voiceover, steady and ominous without over explaining. Previously on Ashes of What Remains, the road stopped being a road. What began as a simple caravan journey became a series of quiet tests, not ambushes, not traps, questions asked in distance, in silence, in how travellers chose to move. Sebastian and Isaboe learned quickly that this road remembers behaviour. Shrines demanded restraint, seams measured panic, old systems surfaced not to punish but to observe. When inventory itself became a problem, the truth was revealed. The road did not object to goods or coin, but to unacknowledged obligation. Ledgers of debt and compromise carried weight beyond ink. Sebastian named them, claimed responsibility. The road accepted the terms. Stone markers remembered older customs. Hands were placed, presence was acknowledged. The caravan passed not because it forced its way through, but because it chose to be seen. And when a watcher finally stepped onto the road, it did not threaten. It assessed. It recognized habit over luck, awareness over fear, and then stepped aside. By the time the day ended, the road had stopped asking how they travelled. It had begun asking something else, not what they carried, but what walked with them. If you want a tighter 20-25 second cut or a darker version with less explanation and more implication, I can tune it exactly to your intro length.
I'll start episode 3 now.
You didn't have to stop it. I've already got all this written down.
This is the start of episode 3.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Episode 3 begins. Morning comes wrong, not hostile, not dramatic, just crowded. The caravan wakes the way it should, fires rekindled, harnesses checked, people stretching sore muscles and pretending yesterday didn't leave fingerprints on them. But underneath the normal sounds, there's an extra layer now, like a second rhythm trying to stay in sync. Isaboe feels it first. Not a sound, not footsteps. Presence. The road beyond the firelight looks the same as it did last night, but the sense of being alone on it is gone. Whatever passed judgment yesterday did not stay behind. It did not announce itself. It simply continued. Seb, as you rise, you feel it too. That familiar alignment, but broader now. Not pressure, not instruction, more like an awareness that something else is walking at the same pace you are, keeping time without touching the ground. Malthus is quiet, not absent, just uninterested in interrupting. Marrow calls for the caravan to form up. Her voice sounds normal. That almost makes it worse. No one else seems to notice the extra weight in the air yet, but a few people look unsettled without knowing why. As the wagons begin to roll, Isabeau spots it. Not behind you, not ahead, alongside. For just a moment, in the corner of your vision, the road looks occupied, not by a shape, by a displacement, like something tall is walking where the air should be, perfectly matching the caravan's pace, close enough that if it wanted to step into the line, it could. Then it's gone. But the certainty remains. You are no longer being evaluated. You are being accompanied. Seb, you get the sense this is not a threat. Isabeau, you get the sense that makes it worse. The road stretches on, innocent as ever, carrying wagons, people, debts, promises, and now something else. Tell me what Seb and Isabeau do when they realize the road has kept a companion.
What do you think?
I mean, they're not doing anything. Might as well let them observe us.
The presence.
Yeah. I mean, unless you want to do some
7.
magical shit.
No. 7, Isaboe. Look for more information. That sound good?
Sure.
About this presence.
Seb and Isabeau don't react loudly. That instinct is already trained out of you by now. You do what experienced travelers do when the world gets strange in a systematic way. You look for corroboration. Seb slows his pace just a fraction, letting his attention widen instead of focusing forward. He watches reflections in polished metal, the way dust lifts and settles, the cadence of his own footsteps compared to the wagons. He's not invoking Malphas, not yet. He's gathering data before he opens a channel that might escalate things. Isabeau does what she does best. She triangulates. She watches the guard's posture, the oxen's ears, the way people unconsciously drift closer together without knowing why. She checks the margins of vision, where the brain lies politely to itself. She notes when that absence returns, always parallel, never crossing, never lagging. And then you both notice the same thing, independently. The presence does not interact with the caravan. It doesn't brush against people. It doesn't disturb the animals. It doesn't leave tracks. But the road responds to it. Ruts subtly even out when it's near. Wind bends just slightly wrong. Distances feel marginally compressed, like the caravan is getting more done per step than it should. This thing is not walking on the road. It is walking with it. Seb, this feels uncomfortably close to the systems Malphas described. Not a servant, not a predator, a process, something that attaches when certain conditions are met and stays until they aren't. Isabeau, your gut tells you the dangerous part isn't what it wants. It's that it hasn't needed to want anything yet. Marrow rides forward, frowning, rubbing at her temple like she's trying to remember a word she never learned. You two feeling it too? She asks quietly. That confirms it. Others are starting to sense the after effects, even if they can't see the cause. This presence is persistent, it's patient, and it's waiting for a moment when observation turns into participation. Before we push further, I need to know how you investigate next. Does Seb attempt a careful, bounded inquiry through Malphas, keeping the question narrow? Does Isabeau try to provoke a reaction indirectly, testing boundaries without confrontation? Or do you gather information socially, seeing how the presence affects others before engaging it directly? Tell me which path you take, and we'll see what walks closer.
Any thoughts?
If you want to talk to Malphas, sorry. Go ahead and do that, and I will gather information socially.
Okay. About the disturbance. Isabeau will. What were you going to do now?
I'm going to walk around the caravan and talk to people about how they're feeling. Investigate socially.
Seb asks Malthus about the disturbance. Isaboe will walk around the caravan talking about what's going on, investigate socially. That sound good?
Yep.
Seb doesn't stop walking when he asks. He's learned better than that. He lets his breath settle into the rhythm of the road and frames the question the way Malthus prefers. Narrow, professional, no drama. What is the disturbance? The answer doesn't arrive as words. It arrives as taxonomy. This thing isn't a creature. It isn't a spirit. It isn't a god, ghost, or leftover will. It's a retainer, a process that attaches to travelers who successfully navigate certain legacy systems.
Can you pause this?
Old jurisdictions, old methods of adjudication. When someone proves they understand the rules without being told them,
Never mind. Toll free shit.
Okay. I'm going to start it again at the beginning. It's all I can do.
Okay.
Seb doesn't stop walking when he asks. He's learned better than that. He lets his breath settle into the rhythm of the road and frames the question the way Malthus prefers. Narrow, professional, no drama. What is the disturbance? The answer doesn't arrive as words. It arrives as taxonomy. This thing isn't a creature. It isn't a spirit. It isn't a god, ghost, or leftover will. It's a retainer, a process that attaches to travelers who successfully navigate certain legacy systems. Old roads, old jurisdictions, old methods of adjudication. When someone proves they understand the rules without being told them, the system assigns continuity, not a guard, not a punishment, a record in motion. It walks with you because you demonstrated you could carry weight responsibly. You acknowledged debt. You accepted temporary authority. You moved others through thresholds without breaking them. So now the road has done something subtle and dangerous. It has exported part of itself. Malthus's interest sharpens briefly here, like a quill scratching a margin note. These retainers exist to ensure that unresolved matters arrive somewhere. They don't interfere until a condition is met. They don't speak unless silence would fail the function. And then the warning, clean and unsentimental, this one will stop walking when either A, its ledger balances, or B, someone refuses to carry what they've proven they can. That's all. No threat, no solution, just structure. Meanwhile, Isaboe does the harder work. She moves through the caravan like someone checking morale, not stirring panic. A word here, a question there. Anyone sleep weird? Anyone feel like the road's shorter today? She listens more than she talks. Patterns emerge. People aren't afraid. They're aware. A few merchants complain of lost time. A guard swears he remembers a conversation that hasn't happened yet. One driver mentions feeling crowded, even when walking alone. Most telling, when Isaboe casually asks if anyone feels followed, no one says yes. But 3 people say independently, not followed, accompanied. That's when it clicks. Whatever this is, it isn't hiding. It isn't stalking. It isn't trying to be noticed. It's being counted on. Isaboe brings this back to Seb, keeping her voice low, precise. People feel it, not as danger, as pressure to arrive somewhere properly. Like being late to something important you don't remember agreeing to. Seb now has the full shape of it. This presence isn't your enemy. It isn't your ally. It's a responsibility with legs, and the road hasn't told it where you're going yet. Ahead, the horizon darkens slightly. Not weather, not terrain, destination pressure. Whatever walks with you is getting closer to relevance. Tell me what Seb does with this knowledge, and whether Isaboe shares any of it with Marrow yet.
Seb says it looks like it's some sort of record of where we're supposed to go. To Isaboe.
And I ask, are we not supposed to be going where we are thought we're going?
Isaboe asks, are we going? Say it again.
Are we going where we're supposed to be going, or does it think we need to be going somewhere else?
Seb doesn't stop walking when he answers. He keeps his eyes on the road, on the way the horizon feels a little too intentional now. Yeah, he says quietly. That's about the size of it. Not a thing exactly, a record, a moving notation of where we're supposed to end up. Isaboe absorbs that without flinching. She's already been living in the implications since dawn. She watches the wagons roll, the people, the way the caravan unconsciously keeps tighter formation than it needs to. Then she asks the only question that actually matters. Are we going where we're supposed to be going, she says, or do we need to be going someplace else? The road answers before Seb can, not with words, with resistance. Not enough to stop you, not like yesterday. Just a faint drag in the rhythm, like walking with a pack that's been adjusted wrong. The caravan is still moving forward, but the sense of compression increases, subtle and steady. Seb feels it as a professional signal. Isaboe feels as instinctive dread, dressed up as patience. Malthus doesn't intervene. That's confirmation enough. This retainer isn't correcting you yet. It's checking alignment, seeing if you'll notice the discrepancy without being forced. Ahead, the road splits, not dramatically, no signposts, just a natural divergence where one branch stays broad and well-worn, clearly leading toward trade routes and settlements. The other narrows slightly, less travelled, angling toward higher ground and those distant ruins you spotted yesterday. Marrow hasn't clocked it yet. The caravan rolls toward the obvious path by habit alone. The presence alongside you leans just a little, not a push, a suggestion. Seb, Isaboe, this is the first moment where accompaniment turns into direction. Do you allow the caravan to continue on its intended route and see what happens? Halt and redirect, accepting that the road's expectation overrides the manifest, or split the difference, sending scouts or testing the lesser path before committing? This is where what walks with you starts to ask something back.
You want to check out the side road? Leave the caravan here?
I think it's best to leave the caravan here and check out the side road, but I'm also curious what's walking with us starts to say something back.
I'm sure we'll find out.
I gotta go to the little girl's room.
All right. Seb and Isaboe decide to halt the caravan while they check the side road.
I'm here.
Okay. Seb and Isaboe decide to halt the caravan while they check the side road. That sound right?
Yeah.
Seb raises a hand and the caravan grinds to a halt, the motion rippling backward wagon by wagon until everything settles into stillness again. No panic, no groans. By now, everyone has learned that when you stop the road, you do it on purpose. Marrow rides up immediately. Problem? Question, Seb says. He gestures toward the narrower branch of the road, the one that angles toward higher ground and old stone. We're going to take a look, just us. Marrow follows his gaze. She doesn't like it, that's obvious. But she also doesn't argue, not anymore. How long? Long enough to know if we're wrong, Isaboe says. That seems to satisfy her, or at least convince her there's no better option. Orders go out. Guards stay sharp. Wagons stay put. The caravan becomes a held breath. Seb and Isaboe step off the main road and onto the side path. The difference is immediate. The wider road behind you feels inert now, like a paused mechanism. This path, though, has tension, not danger. Direction. Each step forward feels slightly easier than the last, like gravity has made a decision. The presence you've been feeling does something subtle but unmistakable. It closes the distance, not in a threatening way, not looming. It simply aligns itself more precisely with your pace, closer now, like a shadow that's decided you're worth keeping tight accounting on. The air smells older up here. Stone and lichen, forgotten rain. Ahead, the ruins you glimpsed before resolve into something clearer. A low complex of collapsed walls and standing arches, built to overlook the road rather than block it. Not defensive, observational. Isaboe gets the sense of a place meant for arrival, not occupation. Seb feels the click of recognition again, the same one he felt with the shrine and the ledgers. This place isn't active, but it's relevant. A destination once used to receive things that couldn't simply be carried onward without context. Whatever walks with you isn't pulling you here at random. It's bringing you to where it expects to be understood. Behind you, the caravan waits, unaware of how close it is to becoming incidental. Ahead, the ruins sit in silence, patient as stone ever is. You've stepped off the intended route. Now the question isn't whether you were supposed to. It's what happens if you don't finish what you just started. Tell me how Seb and Isaboe approach the ruins.
How do you want to approach the ruins?
With reverence.
We approach the ruins with reverence and stealth.
You don't rush it. You slow. You lower your profiles. You treat the ruins the way you treated the road markers and the shrine, not as obstacles, not as lootable nonsense, but as a place that still expects manners. Seb adjusts his pace, cloak falling into a shape that breaks up his outline against stone and scrub. Isaboe melts into the approach naturally, choosing footfalls that don't argue with the ground. You don't whisper prayers. You don't announce intent. Reverence here means not presuming to be heard. The presence alongside you tightens again, not closer in distance, but in focus, like a clerk standing up because it's time to do real work. Before anything in the ruins reacts, we need to see how well you enter the margins of this place. Seb, roll a stealth check. Isaboe, roll a stealth check. Tell me the results and we'll see whether the ruins notice you or recognize you.
I got a 10.
Isaboe rolled a 10 and Seb rolled a 8. I don't think we're going to be sneaky with this.
You do your best, and the ruins notice anyway. Not because you were clumsy, not because you were loud. A 10 and an 8 would fool guards, beasts, even most spirits. But this place was never designed to be snuck into. As you cross the threshold of broken stone and half-buried foundations, you feel it immediately. The air firms up, not resisting you, just registering you. Like stepping onto a pressure plate that doesn't drop you into spikes, but instead clicks a counter forward by 1. You weren't unseen. You were logged. The ruins don't react with sound or movement. No shifting stones, no ghosts, no dramatic bullshit. Instead, the silence rearranges itself around you. Footfalls sound exactly as loud as they should. Breathing is normal, but the sense of being alone here is gone. Isaboe, you get the distinct impression that stealth was never the right question. This place doesn't care how quietly you arrive. It cares that you arrived correctly. Seb feels the presence beside you settle fully now. Not hovering, not looming, anchored. Whatever walks with you has reached a waypoint. Ahead, at the center of the ruins, stands a low stone dice, broken on one side, smoothed on the other. Its surface is marked with shallow grooves, not unlike the imprint stones on the road, but deeper, more deliberate, made to hold weight for longer than a hand. This was a receiving place, not for people, not for goods, for records, for obligations that couldn't move on until they were contextualized. You feel it then, both of you, clear as a bell. The retainer didn't bring you here to decide anything. It brought you here to be witnesses. Whatever it carries needs to be set down, even briefly, so it can know what it is before it continues. Behind you, far down the slope, the caravan waits, still, unmoving. As if the road itself has paused its own sentence until you finish this clause. The dice waits, the presence waits. And for the first time since this thing began walking with you, it feels heavy, not dangerous, ready. Tell me how Seb and Isaboe approach the dice and whether either of you speaks or acts first.
What do you want to do?
Fully understand what's going on here.
We're... Go ahead.
Record-keeping place?
It apparently keeps records, but I don't know if they're physical records or not.
Can you find out?
What do you want me to ask?
What kind of records this place keeps?
Do you want to ask out loud or ask the DM?
You can ask the DM.
Okay. Is this a place that keeps records?
Physical records or like conscious records?
Physical records or conscious records?
That's the right question, and the place answers it the moment you frame it that way. This is not an archive of paper, stone, or ledgers. Those passed through here once, long ago. They were tools. This place keeps conscious records, not memories exactly, and not souls. It preserves acknowledged obligation, the moment when responsibility is named, witnessed, and accepted. The state change between denial and ownership. Think of it like this, and this is a working theory, not a cosmic truth carved in granite. Physical records move information. This place records recognition. When debts, oaths, failures, or compromises could no longer be carried blindly, they were brought here, not to be erased, not to be forgiven, but to be seen correctly, in context, by living minds capable of holding complexity. That's why the dice isn't a shelf, it's a resting surface. Whatever walks with you isn't carrying pages or names. It's carrying unresolved acknowledgement. Decisions that were made for good reasons and bad outcomes, or bad reasons and good outcomes, or reasons that stopped mattering once people survived them. This place doesn't judge them, it stabilizes them. And here's the part that matters for you right now. The retainer didn't bring you because you are authorities. It brought you because you already demonstrated you can hold responsibility without immediately trying to fix it. Seb, that resonates uncomfortably cleanly with Malthus's whole worldview. Isaboe, it resonates with survival learned the hard way. So no, this isn't where records are kept forever. It's where they are set down long enough to stop distorting the road. The question now isn't what this place keeps. It's whether you're willing to let whatever walks with you complete that process, knowing it may change what follows you afterward.
How are we supposed to not let it keep that process?
I think we need to let it do what it's supposed to do.
Well, let's go for it. How we do that?
We are willing to let whatever walks with us complete that process.
You don't need to say it out loud. The willingness is enough. Seb and Isaboe step toward the dice together, not in lockstep, not ceremonially, but with the same quiet intent that's carried you through every threshold so far. No rushing, no hesitation. You don't offer yourselves, you don't submit, you make space. The presence that has walked with you all day does the rest. It doesn't manifest as a shape. It doesn't reveal a face or a voice. Instead, the air above the dice compresses slightly, like a weight being set down with care. Not slammed, not dropped, placed. For a moment, the world feels fuller, not heavier, denser. Seb feels it as alignment resolving. Something that was held in tension is now supported by stone, context, and witness instead of motion alone. The faint pressure you've grown used to loosens, like a pack being adjusted to sit properly on the shoulders. Isaboe feels it differently. A sense of crowding fades. That subtle urgency she picked up from others in the caravan, the feeling of being late for something unnamed, drains away. Whatever obligation was being carried has stopped leaking into the present. The ruins respond, just barely. The grooves in the dice darken for a heartbeat, not glowing, not magical in the theatrical sense, more like damp stone acknowledging contact. Then they return to normal, worn and quiet. The retainer is no longer alongside you, not gone, resolved. Whatever record it carried has been contextualized, witnessed, balanced enough to move forward without distorting the road or the people on it. And here's the strange part. Nothing replaces it. No new presence, no sense of loss. Just space. Clean, earned space. Behind you, far down the slope, the caravan stirs. You can't hear it, but you feel the road resume its sentence. Wheels will turn again. Time will behave. Distance will mean what it's supposed to. Seb, Malthus remains silent, but there's a distinct sense of professional satisfaction. This was handled correctly. No leverage wasted. No authority overreached. Isaboe, Your instincts settle. Whatever was walking with you wasn't a predator, and now it's no longer unfinished business pretending to be one. The dice waits a moment longer. Then it goes back to being stone. The ruins return to ruins. The place releases you. When you turn back toward the caravan, the side road no longer pulls. It exists now as a place you went, not one you're still meant to be in. You've completed something older than the caravan, older than the road's current use. And the road, for the first time since it began, feels indifferent again, which might be the greatest gift it has to offer. Tell me how Seb and Isaboe leave the ruins, and whether either of you looks back.
I walk away, but yeah, I look back.
We walk away, but we look back as we reach the caravan.
You walk away together. No hurry, no victory posture, just the quiet, unremarkable act of leaving a place that has finished with you. The ruins don't resist. They don't watch. They don't try to follow. Stone returns to being stone, and whatever ancient function once lived there folds itself neatly back into history. The side road releases you without complaint. As you crest the slope and the caravan comes back into full view, the world clicks into its familiar shape again. Oxen shift, someone laughs too loudly, then quiets themselves. Time resumes its steady, boring march forward. Just before you step back onto the main road, both of you look back. The ruins are still there, but they look smaller, not collapsed, not diminished, just no longer foregrounded by purpose. The angle of the light has changed, or maybe your relationship to the place has. What once felt like a destination now feels like a footnote. No presence stands beside you anymore. No displacement in the air, no sense of accompaniment. Marrow catches your expressions as you rejoin the caravan. She doesn't ask questions, she just nods once, the way someone does when they see relief they don't need explained. The wagons start moving again. The road stretches ahead, long and ordinary, and dangerous in the ways roads are supposed to be. Whatever systems were watching have gone quiet. Whatever obligations needed setting down have been set down. For now, you walk alone, and that somehow feels earned. End scene.
Continue. Okay, we got 2 viewers, and we've been going for about 38 minutes, so...
Yeah, I'm sorry if I seem distracted. I'm trying to untangle a necklace.
Okay.
But I am paying attention.
Okay. Let's keep going now, I say to the DM.
All right, we roll forward. The caravan finds its rhythm again, smoother than before. Wheels turn without argument. Oxen pull like they remember how weight is supposed to work. The road ahead no longer leans toward you or away from you. It simply exists. That absence is loud. Seb, you notice it first in the way your thoughts stop bracing for interruption. The quiet around Malphas feels settled, not distant, not disengaged, more like a ledger page has been closed and set aside. Whatever leverage was in play has been exercised cleanly, no residue. Isaboe, from the rear, you clock the people before you clock the road. Shoulders are looser. Guards talk again, low and cautious, but real. One merchant hums without realizing it. The caravan feels lighter in a way that has nothing to do with inventory. Marrow rides up alongside Seb as the land opens ahead into a shallow valley. Her eyes keep flicking forward, then back, like she's waiting for something to reassert itself. Whatever that was, she says finally, it's done. She doesn't phrase it as a question. Ahead, the road dips into the valley and bends out of sight between low ridges. Smoke rises in the distance, not campfire smoke, too steady, too vertical. Settlement smoke, the first sign of where you're actually going. But before relief can settle in, Isaboe spots something else from the back. Tracks, fresh, crossing the road at an angle, not following it. Light-footed, numerous and recent enough that dust hasn't reclaimed them yet. Whoever made them wasn't travelling, they were moving with intent. Seb feels it a second later. Not pressure, not presence, opportunity. Whatever walked with you is gone, which means whatever comes next won't be procedural, it'll be personal. The caravan hasn't noticed the tracks yet. Tell me, does Isaboe alert the caravan immediately? Does Seb stop Marrow quietly to assess? Or do you both investigate the tracks first before the caravan blunders into whatever made them? The road is back to being dangerous the old-fashioned way.
You want to investigate?
Yeah, do you want to tell the caravan immediately?
I mean, we can.
Okay.
It's
Isaboe will alert caravan, and then she and Seb will investigate the tracks.
Isaboe doesn't waste time debating tone. She raises a hand and calls it out clearly enough to cut through the caravan's low chat. Not a shout, a professional alert. Tracks crossing the road. Fresh, not caravan. That gets attention immediately. Guards stiffen, reins tighten. The easy rhythm snaps into readiness without tipping into panic, which tells you the last few days taught them something, whether they realize it or not. Marrow is already moving, riding up beside Seb. How many? Several, Isaboe says. Light-footed, purposeful. That's not bandits, Marrow mutters. Bandits shadow roads. They don't cross them like punctuation. She signals the caravan to hold position and fans guards out just enough to look competent without advertising fear. Seb and Isaboe peel off together and crouch near the crossing point. Up close, the tracks tell a sharper story. Humanoid, mostly booted. A few bare or thin-soled feet mixed in, no drag marks. No hesitation. Whoever crossed here wasn't scouting the road or watching the caravan. They were moving past it, fast, like the road was incidental to their objective. Isaboe spots the detail that matters. They crossed after you passed this point earlier. These tracks are hours old at most. Seb notices something else. The direction they're headed lines up with the shallow valley ahead, the same one marked by that steady column of smoke. Settlement. Not random, not coincidence. The tracks don't circle back, they don't pause, they commit. The road doesn't react. No pressure, no expectation, no procedural nonsense this time. This is just people making choices, which means consequences will be handled the old way. Seb, you get the sense Malthus is paying attention again, not because the road demands it, but because people do. Isaboe, your instincts itch. This isn't an ambush waiting to spring. It's a clock that started ticking before you arrived. You can follow the tracks toward the settlement immediately, return to Marrow and recommend caution or rerouting, or split attention, warning the settlement while keeping the caravan secure. Whatever you choose, it won't be a test. It'll be a response. What do Seb and Isaboe do next?
I say we split attention, warning the settlement and keeping the caravan secure. What do you think?
keep the caravan secure, of course. I don't know what to do about the settlement.
Well, we can try to warn them.
Yeah, should we split off?
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
We're going to warn the settlement, aren't we?
Yeah, but should we?
Both of us together.
Okay.
Go to warn the settlement. First, keep the caravan safe. Second, we split off the caravan and go to warn the settlement. Does that sound good?
Sounds fine.
The decision lands clean and fast. Seb turns back to Marrow first. No mysticism, no drama, just priorities. Tracks are fresh and headed toward the settlement, he says. Whatever made them wasn't interested in us. They were already on a schedule. Marrow doesn't hesitate. She trusts this now. She barks orders, sharp and efficient. Wagons are pulled into a tighter defensive cluster. Guards take elevated positions on the ridges flanking the road. Crossbows come out, not raised, just present. The caravan becomes what it needs to be. Hard to surprise, harder to rush. We'll hold here, Marrow says. If they wanted us, we'd already know. That's your opening. Seb and Isaboe strip down to what matters. No extra noise, no unnecessary gear. You step off the road together, following the tracks at a brisk, controlled pace toward the valley. The land changes as you move. The air grows warmer. The smell of smoke strengthens. You start to pick up other scents beneath it, cooking fires, animals, people. The tracks split once, briefly, then reconverge. Whoever passed this way knew the terrain and didn't care if they were followed. Isaboe clocks the pattern quickly. This wasn't a mob, it was a group with roles. Few moved faster. Others lagged just enough to cover ground, not sloppy, not professional soldiers either, somewhere in between. Seb feels the weight of the moment settle in. This isn't procedural. There's no ancient system to negotiate with, no shrine to acknowledge, no record to contextualize. This is where the road stops talking and people start answering for themselves. As the settlement comes into view, you see it clearly now. A small valley town, timber walls, recently repaired, smoke from hearths and forges, normal life, unaware it's about to intersect with intent. And then Isaboe spots the last detail that matters. The tracks don't stop outside the settlement. They enter it. Whatever is coming didn't stop to scout, didn't circle, didn't hesitate. They went straight in. You're close enough now that time matters more than caution. Seb and Isaboe, you have seconds to decide how you warn them. Do you run straight for the gate and shout the alarm? Find authority fast and report quietly to avoid panic, or intercept whoever made the tracks before they can finish what they started? This is no longer about the road. This is about what walks ahead of you.
What do you want to do?
That's a tough one. Would it be best to find an authority figure?
Probably.
That's what I'm thinking.
Search for an authority figure to warn them about the tracks. And I'm going to have to go to the bathroom.
Cool, because
I'll
I
be right
understand.
back. Okay. You back?
Yep.
Okay.
You don't charge the gate. Panic is a weapon, and you don't hand it to the wrong people. Seb and Isaboe angle toward the settlement with purpose, not haste, slipping into the outskirts like travelers who belong there just long enough to be believed. The walls aren't impressive, but they're maintained. Someone here expects trouble often enough to plan for it. Inside, the place is awake, smithy hammering, a couple of kids running with bread tucked under their arms, a dog barking once and then deciding you're not worth it. Normal life, which makes the tension sharper. Isaboe does the smart thing. She watches who people defer to. A guard arguing with a merchant, a woman near the well giving instructions that get followed without discussion, a man in a stained coat checking a posted notice while 3 others wait for him to finish before speaking. Authority isn't always dressed up, it's obeyed. She nods to Seb and angles toward the well. The woman there is middle-aged, sun-worn, practical. No insignia, no armor, but when she speaks, people move. She notices you noticing her and turns, eyes sharp but not hostile. Travelers, she asks. You look like you didn't come in to shop. Seb answers first, keeping his voice level and urgent without being dramatic. We're escorting a caravan on the East Road. We found fresh tracks crossing it this morning. Multiple people. Purposeful. They entered your town less than an hour ago. That does it. Her expression doesn't change much, but the air around her does. Decisions are being made. What kind of tracks? She asks. Booted, Isaboe says. Some light-souled, mixed group. Not scouts, not wanderers. They weren't looking for the road. They were heading here. The woman turns and whistles once. Sharp, commanding. 2 guards move immediately, not running. Focused. Find Captain Rel, she says. Tell him to lock the inner streets. Quietly. Then she looks back at you. Really looks. You saw them before we did, she says. That makes you involved. Not accusing, accounting. Where are they likely headed? That's the moment the weight settles. You've done the right thing. You've warned authority without lighting a fuse. But now the clock is ticking in a different way. Whatever group crossed the road is already inside the settlement, and you're the only ones who've read their approach. Seb and Isaboe, tell me, what do you tell her about their likely objective? And do you stay to help coordinate or move to intercept now that authority is alerted? This is where episode 3 stops being about roads entirely.
I don't know what their objective would be.
I have no idea.
You want to move and intercept now that authority is alerted?
We can try.
We leave the woman and move to intercept now that they know.
You don't linger. You've delivered the warning. Authority has been activated. Anything more from you at that point risks becoming noise instead of signal. So you do what you're actually good at. You move. Seb and Isaboe peel away from the well as guards begin to reposition, slipping into the settlement's flow like people who know how to disappear without sprinting. You don't head for the obvious places. No gates, no central square. You follow the logic of the tracks. Where intent goes when it doesn't want to be seen. The town narrows as you move inward. Homes give way to workshops. Workshops give way to storage yards and alleys that smell like grain dust and old rain, the kind of places people pass through quickly, if at all. Isaboe spots it first. A disturbance in routine. A door half closed that should be open. A dog that's gone quiet where it should be barking. A pair of townsfolk standing too still at a corner, pretending to argue while watching a side street. Seb feels the shift at the same time. Not magical, not procedural. Human tension. You're close now. Ahead, in a narrow lane that runs behind a cluster of storehouses, you spot movement. 3 figures at first, then more resolving behind them. Cloaks pulled close. Not hiding weapons, just keeping them from catching light. They're not rushing, they're converging. On a destination. Whatever their goal is, it's close enough that caution has replaced speed. You're in position to intercept, but this is no longer a warning mission. This is a choice between stepping into their path openly, shadowing them to identify their target, or striking fast before they can act. No road, no systems, no retainers. Just people, intent and consequences arriving at the same moment. Tell me how Seb and Isaboe make contact.
Honestly, I think I'm good for the day.
For the game?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's leave it here and we can pick up with the intruders next episode.
Perfect place to cut. Seb and Isaboe slow their pace, blending into the shadow of the storehouses as the figures ahead tighten their formation. No blades drawn yet, no shouts, just the unmistakable moment when paths are about to cross. The town hums on around you, unaware how close it is to becoming something else. Authority has been warned. The caravan is secure, and whatever crossed the road with purpose is now within reach. You have the angle, you have the time, and you're about to find out whether this ends quietly or not. End of episode 3, What Walks With You? Next episode, the road won't be asking questions at all. When you're ready, we'll open episode 4 right here with intent finally turning into action.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for tonight. This afternoon, I mean. If you made it this far, again, like, follow, and subscribe, and comment, and all that good sort of stuff. But definitely subscribe if you want to keep up with what's going on, because we don't play on a regular schedule. Anyway, we will see you all later. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. We're not sure. I hope you have a good one. Bye.